Hi, hello, Gramsy here, and welcome back to another Thick Thursday, the best source for your weekly VR news, just juicy facts and stories presented in an easily digestible way for your virtual reality needs. I took some time off, but man, does it feel good to be back, because this week we have some trouble brewing around Microsoft's HoloLens project, some leaked sneak peeks into Project Cambria's specifications, and a brand new headset from Pimax. There's a lot to cover this week. So let's just jump right in. Let's start this week off with some good news for the VR space in general. Now, Meta has always been pretty hush-hush about its exact sales figures and units sold when it comes to their XR devices, which means a lot of people like to speculate, and unfortunately, most of it isn't entirely accurate. But IDC, or International Data Corporation, does this sort of thing all the time, compiling market reports, analyzing data, and collecting information on unit sales estimates. So basically, they know a thing or two about this sort of thing. It's their entire business model. But IDC has compiled a report declaring the Quest 2 officially as VR's most successful headset to date, with a combined sale of almost 15 million units sold since its launch. To add to this, the VR market as a whole is up 254% in Q1 of 2022 alone, compared to just 97% throughout the entirety of the previous year. Now, I'm not going to pretend I understand how they came up with these metrics or exactly how they're measuring them, but I'm going to take them at their word for it because, again, they know a thing or two about a thing or two when it comes to this sort of thing. By comparison, the PS5 has already officially sold 20 million units, and the Xbox X and S consoles both sold for a combined just over 14 million units, which means, yes, Phil Spencer is eating his own words about this. Now, keep in mind, this is just Quest 2 units. This doesn't include other VR headsets like the Index, HTC Vive, or a countless array of other popular headsets, meaning VR is likely the most hot-selling gaming medium so far this year, outpacing every other console available currently. This is awesome news for VR as a whole, and I can't wait to see what this does to push it even further this year. BCIs, or brain-computer interfaces, are something I've been pretty passionate about and interested in for a while, and for a lot of different reasons. Firstly, I think they're absolutely going to be the future of not just VR tech, but a wide array of other technologies in the future as well. OpenBCI, an open source company creating brain-computer interface solutions, has partnered with Varjo, the Finnish enterprise-oriented VR headset manufacturer, with their iconic Galea brain-computer interface. They're working together to pair OpenBCI's Galea with Varjo's Aero platform and create a BCI-powered version of the Aero. Now, normally Varjo's Aero headset would sell for around $2,000, give or take a few bucks on the dollar, depending on shipping and taxes. There's no exact estimate or price tag on what the Aero will cost with the Galea integrated, but my guess is a lot, considering that previous estimates of Valve's Project Cambria with an Index integrated BCI were around $5,000. Regardless, it's insanely cool to see two of the world's most cutting-edge tech companies working together to push VR further than it's ever gone before, and I can't wait to see the results of it. This is all pretty preliminary right now, with pre-orders opening up just at the end of May, but they have stated they'll open up sales to the public on July 1, meaning we're probably going to get a much deeper look on this thing very soon. But now it's time for this week's Thick Snack. Check out these wild-looking buttonless VR controllers. You heard me right. Buttonless VR controllers. They feature, well, no buttons, no thumbsticks, full hand finger tracking, and have both 3DOF and 6DOF models to be in production. They're pretty expensive too, but if you're interested in these, I'll leave a link in the description for you. But now, back to the news. Microsoft's HoloLens debacle is the dumpster fire that keeps on giving. For those who don't know, this has been a wild ride since news broke in February that there was a lot of issues both with Microsoft's $22 billion contract with the US federal government, but also with continued development of the HoloLens 3, Microsoft's next-gen augmented reality headset. A combination of indecision about whether to focus on enterprise markets or pivoting to consumer markets has resulted in a lot of political infighting high up in the HoloLens team, and rumors surrounding the project lead Alex Kipman. Well, allegedly, some of those rumors may be becoming substantiated according to an insider report alleging that Kipman, allegedly, not in my words, engaged in some serious gross misconduct with fellow female employees and subordinates. According to the report, more than 25 different employees shared their experiences as part of a report filed about Kipman. Now, it's important to note that this report did not specify whether the employees were all female, if there were any males included in the report, or even to the extent that all of them were included in the report as a result of direct misconduct. So take this with a grain of salt. Kipman himself has not responded to any of these allegations personally and has officially resigned his position as the head of the HoloLens project since then. Microsoft has refused to confirm or deny any of the allegations brought up about Kipman, though they have stated on the record that they are investigating every report. This continues to not look good for Microsoft and the HoloLens project as a whole. It seems like on top of continued supply chain problems slowing development, a massive restructure is going to be coming very soon for this project. I just don't see Microsoft giving up on it so easily though, especially with their insanely deep pockets. Finally, it feels like we've been waiting forever to hear something, anything official on Meta's Project Cambria regarding specs or just literally any confirmation on any idea what this headset was going to look like other than being expensive as heck. I mean, even when Meta says they have something cool to show us, they still, put a mosaic over it, despite the fact that everyone already knows what it looks like. But anyway, thanks to none other than, sadly, it's Bradley himself, the specs on this thing are looking way more clear, so here we go. Meta's Project Cambria is going to include a dial-in to adjust lens distance from the eyes, a manual IPD adjustment where you physically move the lenses themselves, 2 monochrome cameras, and 1 full RGB camera on the front of the headset for the mixed reality pass-through. Cambria will have 2160 by 2160 mini LED backlit LCD pancake lenses, a 16 megapixel camera for color pass-through, IR or infrared based eye and face tracking, a Qualcomm Snapdragon XR2 plus a Snapdragon Gen 1 SoC, 12 gigabytes of RAM, a 256 gigabyte solid-state drive, Wi-Fi 6E support, and a 5,000 milliampere hour battery. And all of this tech basically turns Project Cambria into the equivalent of a Lenovo Yoga or some equivalent laptop packed into a toaster and strapped to your face, which is definitely an interesting concept. I mean, technically, standalone VR devices, whether it's the Quest 2 or something else, are, for all intents and purposes, computers of sorts, but always lacked the raw computing power, space requirements, and multitasking capability of a traditional desktop or laptop device. But now it's time for your VR game of the week. Sony's State of Play event happened last week, and even though there wasn't a lot to get excited about VR-wise, there is one major announcement that came out of it. A completely remastered from scratch Resident Evil 4 complete with PSVR 2 exclusive features and a VR port of Resident Evil Village to PSVR 2. I think most gaming fans in general can get excited about this as Resident Evil is a beloved franchise by many, but the fact that they're including official VR support is definitely exciting. But this isn't until next year, at the very earliest, unfortunately, so we'll have to be patient with this one. But now, back to the news. So Pimax has a habit of doing some, well, just pretty weird stuff, we'll say, when it comes to marketing their headsets and just overall brand awareness. So it's surprising, but also kind of not surprising that Pimax, without any warning whatsoever and only about a day's notice, decided to just casually announce a brand new standalone headset that isn't the 12K everyone has been anticipating since the beginning of the year. Now, spec-wise, it actually is somewhat close to being a 12K, but here's the interesting part. This is supposedly a full standalone Pimax experience. Dubbed the Pimax Crystal, this new standalone headset is shooting for a Q3 launch this year and will cost about $1,900. Now, it may be a fully standalone device, but it is capable of tethered PC VR compatibility as well. But let's dive into the juicy details on this and see what this thing is all about. Starting off with some chonky 2880 by 2880 per eye QLED and mini LED HDR aspheric lenses, 140 degrees of diagonal FOV, clocking in at up to 160 Hz and powered by Qualcomm's hallmark Snapdragon XR2. This thing is without a doubt going to be the most powerful standalone VR device by far, assuming no one comes out with anything remarkable before it launches. With a price tag closer to $2,000, it's unlikely to sell like hotcakes or even come remotely close to Quest 2 unit sales, but still an impressive lineup of specifications for a standalone headset. But I have to be honest, I'm kind of confused by this. Pimax has only made tethered PC VR headsets up until now, aimed towards the extreme VR enthusiast on PC VR, which is objectively the best way to harness the power needed by a high-end VR headset. It feels like Pimax is awkwardly stepping out of their own lane just to be gimmicky, because I have to be honest, even if money wasn't an issue, I'd never buy the worst version of something, especially when it's that expensive. I'd much rather just wait for the 12K to come out and experience that on PC VR. I'm not looking for PC-like power from a standalone headset, at least not just yet, and certainly not for just how bulky this thing is going to be. And in the meantime, we have the Quest 2, which is a pretty robust headset on its own. It does seem a bit weird and out of place, but that's just my 2 cents. What do you guys make of this thing? Let me know in the comment section down below so we can talk about it. Lynx, the European creators of the R1 mixed reality headset, originally slated for a June or July launch this year, have been making it in the news more and more lately. Last week, due to a massive Series A investment closing to the tune of a cool $4 million, but this week because of some delays in their project, citing concerns with component manufacturers. As of right now, Stan LaRoque, Lynx's creator, says sometime this summer can be expected, and as opposed to the previous goal of releasing with its own controllers, it will be just the headset releasing on its own, with controllers coming sometime down the line. Currently, it's looking like Lynx is aiming for the controllers to be mostly traditionally tracked, that is, with the most common 6DoF slam tracking method used currently by most headsets, with the tracking ring on the tops of the controllers. There is no current expected date for when exactly these controllers will be released. But that's it. That's all the time we have this week, everyone. If you're still watching right now, I appreciate you more than you will ever know. Remember to punch that like button if you thought this video was informative. Subscribe if you want to see more of this type of content next week, and hit that notification bell if you just cannot stand missing out on these oh so sweet dummy thick VR news clips. I love each and every one of you beautiful father muckers. Until next time, Gramsy out.